Okay, I'm back. So I was playing around with it with the my last video on learning C++. Going having a lot of trouble with the headers and the circular reference. So I mean it's just off the charts, unbelievable. Makes me want to quit C++. It is bad. I mean this is so horrible. And anyway, I wish I had videotaped it, or I wish I had recorded it, but I couldn't bear to have another dud video where I'm just spinning my wheels. But this one actually worked. So I'm going to go over what I did with this, and here it is here. Ah, my windows are down. You hear all the trucks going by. So if you remember right here, we're taking object 1 and we have a function in there called get age from 1 or age from 2. Well, 2 has a function. See, 1 is actually age is in the 1 object, and 2 object has the weight. So inside main and 1, see how it's well, I'll show you all that. So we're using 2 to go back to 1, and we're using 1 to call a function in 2. See, that way I created the circular reference, which I'm trying to mimic in the roguelike game. So we create our objects here, 1, 2, and 3. 3 is not really relevant at this point. And then we have, instead of constructor injection, we're going to use just, this is a property injector in C sharp. Remember, properties in C sharp are just methods. So here we're using a method called setToInstance, and that's how we're doing that. So we're getting, because in the last video I tried just newing up an object here, or just instantiating an object. And what it would do is it just went into a loop and it just overflowed the stack. So I couldn't do it, and then it was nothing but in the video and eat lunch and think about it. But that's what we're doing. So we're passing in, we're newing up these objects, or we're just instantiating the objects, calling it, we're sending it into, this is so confusing, the names on these. One dot set to instance. So we're sending a, we're sending the address of the 2 object into the 1 object to set its instance or its pointer to the 2 object. And we're doing the opposite in the 2 object for the 1 object. And so let's see that. So with the headers, we take the include file out of the header file and we put a forward declaration instead. And then in the 1CPP, we add the 2.h include file. And then here it is. When we set the 2 instance, we pass that the reference to the object in, and then we assign it to our 2ref. And then down here in get weight from 2, remember this is the 1 object. It doesn't have access to weight because that's in the 2 object. But now we have our pointer to the 2 object and we call it. Oh, man. And the whole thing was we wanted to store the state of the 2 object. That's the thing. And that's it. That is it. And it's the same on these and these. And that is what I'm going to do in the roguelike. So we're just gonna inject that reference to the object of the what is it, the game object. So we're in fog of war and we need the game object, but game object already has a fog of war object, and there's our circular reference. So we'll do that. But anyway, if I build this, we get a clean build, and from the main CPP, the first line just prints it out using the standard objects, 1, 2 for weight, 3 for height, and then we get age from 2. Age is normally from 1, but we're going to use the 2 pointer to get it from there, and the 1 object to grab that. And that's it. I think we found it. And there it is. We're grabbing the age. The 1 object owns age, but we're using 2 to call back into age. And here, weight object is owned by 2, but we're using the 2 reference in 1 to grab it out of 2. Yeah, this whole thing is so bad. But the forward declaration in the include is what ended up doing it. Because I was going to try to use, I thought I was going to try to do singletons, but that ended up not working. There's so much about C++, little minutia. It's just so bad. Oh man. But I think a lot of people don't learn all of C++ because there's so much minutia in this thing. I don't think anybody even knows it all. Maybe Scott Myers. Maybe he did. Bjarn. Maybe Bjarn does. Heck, he might have forgotten some of it. You know what? All right, someone's coming down the road into the pond, so I better get. I just wanted to show you guys that and say that that part is going. And now I can continue to the roguelike, and see if I can put this in there and get it working. So hit that like button, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. I appreciate you coming with me on this one. Bye bye.